Why are you here? Sourcing the meaning of life. Visit us at yruhere.tv or rameshrichard.com.
Today, God created a dog, the internet story says, and said, I'll give you 20 years to bark at people, everybody who comes by. The dog says, I don't need 20 years to bark at people. God, would you make it 10 years and I'll give you 10 years back? And God says, agreed. On the second day, God creates a monkey and says, I'll give you 20 years to entertain people with your monkey tricks. And the monkey says, 20 years of entertaining people with monkey tricks is really too long. Can I give you 10 years of doing that? It's plenty. And God says, okay. On the third day, God creates a cow, the story goes, and says, I want to give you 60 years of working for a farmer in the sun, carrying his load and giving him milk for him and his family. And the cow says, 60 years is too long, God. If I can give you 40 years back, would just 20 years be enough? And God says, well, if that's what you want, that'll be fine. On the fourth day, the story goes, God created man and said, you have 20 years to enjoy life, play around, and have a good life. And man says, just 20 years to have a good time? And what about the 10 years the dog gave you back, and the 10 years the monkey gave back to you, and the 40 years the cow back to you? Can we kind of make this a little arrangement between you and me? And God says, are you sure? And the man says, yeah, I'm pretty sure. So the story goes, for the first 20 years, man has a great time enjoying life. And the next 40 years, he slaves like a cow. And the following 10 years, he does monkey tricks for his grandkids. And the last 10 years, he barks at everybody coming in and out of his house. And that, they say, is the meaning of life. I would like to pursue this question along with Viktor Frankl, the man who faced the most dastardly acts, the prophet and the philosopher and psychologist of meaning, who said, you can put up with any what as long as you know the why. Or the German philosopher Nietzsche, who said, you can put up with any how as long as you know the why. A humorous friend of mine quipped, oh, I found the meaning of life, but I forgot to write it down. And now I've lost it, and so I've lost the meaning of life. Hey, would you write some of these things down and write to us so we can keep in touch with you? I want to address the why, and then the what, and then the where, and then the how, and then a final movement. First of all, the why of meaning. What is the significance of all this? Well, the why of meaning says you're human. You're human. You're not a mere animal. You're not a machine. A machine never asks the question of why, because you have a special human identity, which is different from a machine. Recently, NASA actually sent out what is called Robonaut 2. They sent a helper along with the astronauts into the International Space Station, and one morning they gave power to the Robonaut 2, and he was awakened. This Robonaut 2 actually sent a tweet. Actually, the Robonaut didn't, the astronaut did, or NASA did on behalf of the Robonaut, which said, one small step for mankind, one giant step for Tin Man. A Robonaut will only do what its astronauts ask for. It's a good helper. It's only as good as the last piece of programming. A Robonaut doesn't go to find out what is the meaning of life. You do. Human identity also says you're different from animal life. Now, recent estimates say there are about 10 million species on the planet. Robert May, an evolutionary biologist at the University of Oxford, talks about how the large species have been identified, the large mammals or birds. And the lower you go, the species actually multiply. There may be, he says, up to 50 million species, but most have right now identified 8.7 million plus or minus 1.3 million species. In fact, even a spoonful of bacteria has probably 10,000 kinds of species. In global biodiversity, we know there are many species, but mere animals don't ask for the meaning of life because you are a human. Animals and machines don't Google, what is the meaning of life? That's called human identity. But more than human identity is human ability. You have the ability to observe and the ability to think through things. And I'm counting on it as we talk about this discussion. Just like if in real estate, location, 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 everything in humanness, meaning is everything. You can apply, you can interpret. You have the freedom to choose and interpret the meaning of life. A friend of mine talks about how he was at the very edge of taking his life. And because his dog had epilepsy, he had to keep the dog alive, kept him alive. Except the dog did not know that he was being kept alive for the dog to be kept alive, gave him some epilepsy medicine, and the dog stayed alive. Even the smallest things you can turn into meanings in life. You can pursue them. Now, there are some who say there is no meaning to life. They write large books and articles on the fact that there is no meaning to life. I have been actually in places with proposition which says, what is there to meaning in life except to eat and have sex, meaning survival and reproduction? And there are others who say, you know, the searching is the meaning to life. You never find it, but the very fact that you keep searching gives you meaning to life. There are others who say you need to be living like the animals, dehumanized. There's no real difference between you and the animals. For our 30th anniversary, I had the privilege of going with my wife to a place called the Bahamas, and we took a cruise. We found the cheapest cruise. It's called Booze and Cruise. Now, that was really a bad decision because everybody on the boat were boozing and cruising, the closest they came to acting like animals. Instead of being dehumanized as a machine or an animal, I'm going to ask you to be rehumanized. Why are you here? Think about it. Because you are human, you ask the question. Human identity and human ability. Write to us. Hey, we are anxious to hear from you. We can help you evaluate a few things. And we have people who are going to help you through this process. I really want to hear from you.
Why Are You Here? Sourcing the meaning of life. Visit us at yruhere.tv or rameshrichard.com.